Romance and Propaganda, where we expose the truth and broadcast the lies every single week. It's director Imani, Shakur, and author and actress Rachel K. Burke. And today we have a special guest, Kels. Say hi, Kels.
Hi.
And Kels is an astrology subject matter expert. So today I'm going to find out who my best match is, who I should be dating. You know what I mean? Again, every week we tell you guys to check Rachel's books out. Sound Bites, a rock and roll love story, and Love Bites. You can Google these. There's some really cool books, especially you teenage girls out there, my daughter included. Check those out. Stay for the end for Dating Tales again this week. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Catch us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all the cell phones apps. Thank you guys for listening. rptalktruth@gmail.com, romantic propaganda, romance, relations, and propaganda on Twitter, and all that good stuff. Thanks for checking in, guys. This week we're going to talk about Zodiac. That's why Kels is here. That's why Kels is here. We're talking about Zodiacs.
Yay.
So let's get into it. Who's gonna jump it off?
I'll jump it off, and then I'll have Kels chime in because I think she had a few things she wanted to say before we jump into each sign and rip you guys apart. Just kidding.
Yeah, and I have something I want to say too about my own Zodiac before Kels jumps it off.
All right, excellent.
So, Rachel.
All right. So first thing I want to say when we get into this. So the first time I met Imani, he was like, "When's your birthday?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I always ask people that. When's your birthday?" Because it turns out he's big into astrology too. Most guys usually don't believe in it.
Right.
But I like that you do because it really is. It's a thing. I mean, I meet people sometimes and I'm like, "Oh, you're a Gemini, aren't you?" And they're like, "Yeah, how'd you know that?" Like it
Because you
really,
can just tell.
There's certain like
Because
comment.
your necklace. No, just kidding.
I want to choke them sometimes. No, just kidding. But what I want to say before we get into everything is that a lot of people don't know this, but everybody has a sun, moon, and a rising sign. So what that means is your sun sign, that's your main sign. So yours is Aquarius, yours is Aries, mine is Libra. That's basically your personality.
Okay.
Your moon sign, and you can look this up online based on what time you were born and where you were born. So your moon sign is actually your emotions, right? So it's like when you're home alone at the end of the day, that's kind of where that sign comes out. So mine is Leo. So that's where I don't have emotions. No,
Gotcha.
It's just like Leo's very independent. You know, we're tough. And then your rising sign is how you appear to other people as. So we often don't see ourselves that way. So mine is Scorpio. Scorpios are like very like sexual, independent control. So mine is Scorpio, which I'm like, I don't see myself that way. And the people I said that to are like, totally, you have this like sexual energy. And I'm like, I do. So
you definitely do.
Thank you. I mean, I take it as a compliment, but I don't see myself that way, right? So, I say this because when we talk about different signs and a lot of the common things, it's not everybody is going to match that, right? Like most Geminis I know are feisty as shit, right? And they want to fight with you. But if you're watching this and you're like, well, I'm a Gemini, I don't do that. You could have a really strong moon sign, or a strong rising sign or something else in your chart that maybe kind of makes that Gemini not so strong. So that's just what I wanted to jump it off saying.
Interesting. Yeah, that's very insightful information. And the funny thing is, I didn't know much about the air and the other sides. The elements. I didn't know much about the elements at all. I've just always learned the generally speaking. And the thing that I want to actually say is, before I learned about my own Zodiac, I thought I was weird. And then I started reading about Aquarius. I was like, "Oh,
you are weird."
I was like, "Yeah, exactly."
I know I'm weird.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh,
we're all
we're all like this." Kels, I swear.
You're original. Sorry.
Kels, I swear, I thought something was wrong with me. I said, "Oh, we all are like this."
Yeah.
Oh, we all are like this. I was like, "No wonder I think like this." It was the biggest epiphany I've had in my entire life. I swear.
And also, men and women of each sign can be totally different. So like, for example, Capricorn women are terrible with money for in my experience. And Capricorn men are very practical with money. Like they're savers and Capricorn women are spenders. So you can be the same sign, but men and women can be different.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So that's what I wanted to say about the Zodiac before
Kels, what do you want to say?
What do I say?
Jumped
I know you drew a
in.
chart.
Oh, yeah, I drew a chart. But I was just going to go off of what Rachel said, and you actually have your entire chart. So there's other things besides your rising sun and moon. And your rising, I think of it as like a masquerade, like it's what you show the world.
Yeah.
So when he just first met me today, that's probably what I was showing you is my rising. But when you get to know me, you're going to see my sun sign. And then when I feel safe or comfortable, you're going to see my moon sign because it's like my emotions.
Yeah.
So I'm more vulnerable. But
Interesting.
and I call this the girl science because 9 out of 10 times it's usually women that are like, oh, astrology, oh my gosh, I have to figure out like what is that person, or you know, how could I get in their head, like how, you know, like these little like tips and tricks on how to get to know somebody without them knowing that you know their astrological sign.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fascinating. It's more of a way to like psychology of the stars, I think of it too, is that. So it can actually come in handy like in relationships for sure.
Oh,
Gotcha.
yeah, because I think everybody has their kind of like do not date signs, or the signs that it's like, oh yeah, I get along with them great. And my friends are always like texting me like, what do you know about Cancer men? And if I'm like, run, you know, if they're not compatible with them.
I already know there's going to be a couple of signs that Rachel and I are going to
Like,
not be so partial to.
That's funny.
but it's just because we're air and fire. So
Yeah, we
if
get
you-
along with
if you're
everyone.
water or earth,
Maybe not.
we
so
might
much.
not be so compatible with you, but we love you all.
Yeah.
And don't take offense to anything we say, because someone out there is going to love you.
That's true.
And they're probably going to be water or earth.
They're going to be really into mud.
So hold on, let me ask you guys a question. So do you think that because when I was at the winery not too long ago, I was telling one of my buddies this stuff, and he literally got up and went to talk to a girl, and when she told him that it wasn't compatible with sign, he goes, "Oh, I can't talk to you," and he walks away.
Yeah. Oh, guys will do that.
He walked away. He goes, "Oh, I can't talk to you." He walks away. I had just told him like,
What
"Aunt,
is she?
I forget," but I forgot.
Wait, was he saying
he's
because-
an Aquarius like me, born on the exact same day?
Was he saying it because he was into astrology, or because she was, and he was like, "Oh no, you're one of those"?
No,
guys?
I had just told him
Yeah.
what our best
So
and
he
worst
was
match was,
practicing it.
and he walked up to a girl. I think she happened to be a Taurus or something,
So
and he
he's
goes,
very
"Oh, yeah,
subtle.
bye."
and he goes, "Oh, sorry, I can't talk to you." And he walked
your
away
birth.
and came back to the table. Nah, but it's true though. We don't get along with Tauruses at all.
Yes.
I don't think
Oh,
you're-
we're gonna get into that. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it was a Taurus
Yeah,
that
no-
he walked
nobody
up
does,
to.
yeah.
And he was like, "Can't talk to you."
Actually, he
walked
definitely
away.
dodged a bullet. So
Yeah, man. Anyway, that was funny. So what
But
I
it's
was,
funny because most guys will say, you know, if I'm like, "Oh, when's your birthday?" Because that's always what I ask people, and I'm not shy about it. If I meet a guy at a
Yeah.
bar, I'm like, "So I have to ask you this. I ask everybody when's your birthday," and they're like, "Oh no, you're one of those." But as soon as I'm like, "Oh, so are you this, and this," and they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah,"
There's some
and I'm like,
validity.
"Okay,
right,
that's what I thought."
right.
So it's like
right.
I've never once had like been like, "Oh, are you this, and this?" And have somebody be like, "No, that's not me." Like every single
Right.
one of them will be like, "Well, yeah."
Yeah, that's what
But I still think it's bull.
That's kind of
Right.
hardcore screening, though. Like just to go up to
I
someone
don't
and
really.
roll them out.
Yeah, I don't really do that. I'll like give someone the benefit of the doubt, even if it's my worst match, and just see.
I do too, but I find
You know?
I can tell. Like if I'm not, if like somebody's cute, but I'm talking to them, I'm like, I'm not vibing with them. And then they'll say
Yeah.
usually that they're a sign that I'm never into. There's like signs I'm always into.
Right.
I'm always into like the mysterious Libra guys. And then if a guy's like a Taurus or a Virgo, I'm always like, meh. Like I don't
Right.
feel nothing.
So I kind of like I kind of hold back and observe, and then I take notes, and then later on I'll be like, I'll have it in my head, and then I'll ask them. Because I don't want any preconceived notions. Like
Gotcha.
when I'm talking to them, I don't want to be like, okay, you're an Aries, so you're going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to observe you, and then I'm going to come up with it because I want to see how good I am. And then I'll probably ask them like after a while, be like, are you, what are you?
Yeah,
and then
that's
be like,
better.
Okay, that's
That's
okay.
better to do.
Right.
Than like jumping the gun.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Now,
like to know right away.
wouldn't you say that it's not that the relationship would be perfect if you're with your compatible sign, but
It'd be easier.
it would be easier. Much easier. That's what I totally
you
agree.
Speak the same language.
Yeah, I
It is-
completely agree.
It's like these undertones. You're more compatible. So they use the word compatible a lot when they're talking about different signs.
Yeah.
And the only other thing is if you are with someone who isn't as similar as you, it's just like life. Their strengths could complement your weaknesses and vice versa. So, but day to day, I think interaction and communication can be really hard if you're not on the same kind of, if you don't have the same values,
Right.
style, communication, then it becomes difficult. So that initial attraction maybe to someone will wear off because it's like underneath those layers. It's like you don't have the same things in common, or you just, you really just don't even understand each other at the end of the day. It's like you're speaking two different languages.
It's
It's
so
like what
true.
attracted me to you, that's not what's going to keep me with you, right?
Right.
Unless you have those really common
Yeah,
denominators.
Because I always notice if it's someone that I'm compatible with, there's a level of comfortability I can sense immediately. You know,
or there's
in us relating to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's really
Just-
weird.
Just instantly, you can just tell. You know what I mean? And when
or
it's
sometimes
opposite-
there's like the sexual chemistry, but when you actually get into a relationship, it's like, oh no, this is why they're a bad match.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah, so that kind of brings us to like, what's your Venus or your Mars too? Because those are the two planets that kind of dictate what your sexual style is and your preference. So,
Yeah, see, I don't know a lot about that. You know a lot about that because I looked mine up, and
Yeah.
mine was the same as my sun sign. So I was like, oh, it's just me.
yeah, and since I
Do tell. Let me get my pen and pad for everybody at home. Let me get my pen. Take some notes. Go ahead, Kels. I'm listening. So what's the Venus and Mars all about?
So you know, you guys
Men
know
are from
that-
Mars, women are from Venus.
Right.
That whole popular book and why it was
Right.
such a phenomenon is because
Okay.
there's some truths to it.
Okay.
It's like, okay, so I'm an Aries, right? And my Venus, I hate to admit it, is in Taurus,
Oh.
which is totally
Oh.
against my Aries nature. Because
Yeah.
Taurus are, they like comfort, they like stability,
Yep.
routine.
Yep.
But I also think Taurus and Aries is similar because you're both stubborn, you're both headstrong. So I think that's why like Aries and Taurus don't date each other. There's some similarities.
Yeah, they say also you're just naturally going to get along with your zodiac neighbor too. So because of the overlap. So I'm always going to get along with like a Pisces or a Taurus just because
interesting.
we're like kindred spirits. We're like siblings in the zodiac.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So what I'm saying is like my Venus is my maybe my love language or like the way that I prefer to have a lover in my life is my Venus. So it's Taurus. So I would naturally be attracted to someone who is probably financially stable, has a good job, has these traditional values. So maybe someone who's just practical, kind of like to an Aries boring, basically. But that's who I would find to be my perfect mate.
Okay.
So
In the bedroom only, you're talking about, or overall.
I don't know. In the bedroom, it's probably going to be my Mars. Because that's like your sexual side.
I got you.
You know what I
But
mean?
your
Like my
mate
Venus
the
is like my
Venus.
love side. Like I'm gonna fall in love with that.
Got
Like
you.
my Mars is gonna be like my sexual kind of fun side. So if someone had a Mars in Scorpio, like wow, they're gonna be fun.
Got you.
And
But
they're-
probably not long term.
Yeah, they might have multiple partners. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna be more adventurous when it comes to sex, and probably more open minded and kind of like push the limits too. Some with Mars and Scorpio.
Okay.
So you just have to figure out like what are those signs, and then that just goes back to like you were saying, like initially if you're attracted to someone, is that going to last?
Right.
So you could, you know, there's so many times when we meet someone where we're like, I don't know what it is, chemistry, but it could be that maybe like there's something in your chart that's really kind of meshing with each other,
Right.
And that's kind of driving the energy and the passion.
Yeah, because Imani, like she and I had talked. Like we've both dated Capricorns, and and it's like, and we talk about this a lot because I date all Capricorns. But the problem is we have a great sex life, but then once the relationship persists, we're not compatible because
Yeah.
I'm like free spirited and they're very like routine, kind of boring.
Like when
Yeah.
it comes to personality,
Yeah.
we're not compatible.
No.
And it's actually, it's probably not, that's probably true for other signs than us. Like,
yeah. But that
yeah.
chemistry's there, and it's
Capricorns are really good in bed. At least
Yeah.
Capricorn men are like really generous and good in bed.
But I think it's because they're so, and I think you and I have agreed on this.
Status driven.
Because they're so like repressed in every other facet of life. It's like have to work out, have to make money. Like they're so responsible that the bedroom is like the one place they can let
They
loose.
be free.
So like they have all this built up sexual energy, but then beyond that, once you get into it, it's like, let's go on a trip. What do you mean? That's going to cost money, and I'm going to have to take time off work, and it doesn't work. I need a guy who's like, let's go.
they're frugal.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like they're generous in the bedroom, but I also think they do everything 100%.
Yeah.
So they're present. They're there. It's like everything they do, they're in it.
Yeah.
Like they want to be the best at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Capricorn women, and she knows I was seen as one Capricorn that I met on one of the dating apps, and that lasted like a month and ended in disaster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had another. It wasn't disaster. She just she knows
Aquarius
the
and
story.
Capricorn.
That's both my parents, actually.
Yeah.
My dad's an Aquarius and my mom's a Capricorn.
And they're not together.
Right. But it's because Capricorn women like the chase, and my dad was a chase. And so my mom to this day still talks about my dad all the time.
Your dad would be like a chase of a lifetime.
Yeah, literally.
He's never attainable.
My whole life.
Yeah.
My mom has been like my dad's up here.
So what's the thing with the Capricorn women? Yeah, tell me.
You are like from two different planets.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like you can both be physically attracted to each other,
Which we
but
were.
beyond that, it's like nothing else is in sync.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. I think we should just like go through kind of all of them.
Oh, the signs.
Yeah. So let's start with Aries, because that's so also just so everyone knows here, it goes from Aries to Pisces, the charts, because Aries is the youngest and Pisces are the oldest. That's why they always say Pisces are old souls. Aries are the youngest. Because Aries technically starts in March. So it's not like the beginning of the calendar year.
Yeah.
But I always know when people are Aries because, and you're an exception to this because Kelsey doesn't have like the baby voice. But normally I have a lot of girlfriends who are like, hi. And they have like this little girl voice, and they're little, and they're tiny, and they look like little kids, and they act like little kids. And I remember I went up to my coworker once, and I said, "Jax, are you an Aries?" And she goes, "Yes, I am." And like she wasn't even fazed by it, but I was like, "Because you remind me so much of somebody else that was a friend of mine." Because
like a helium voice.
Yes.
Maybe when I get really mad, I get baby voice.
That's funny.
Yeah. So Aries are the youngest. And they're just like
we're infants. So it's the infant of the zodiac.
Yeah, but they're go-getters. I think like Aries have a lot of energy. They're always doing something. They're always like networking.
But we're really selfish and kind of become like blindsided when there's like obstacles. Like we start projects, but we have a really hard time follow through and finishing things. So that's what we're known to like startups and stuff. Like Aries are really good, like getting people on board and like, you know, getting all the crowd going and stuff. But then like maybe like halfway through it, we're like, oh, we're bored. Like we got to do something else.
Oh yeah, they get bored easy.
Yeah,
that's funny. That is like every single one of my Aries friends. They all have these ventures that they do for like a certain amount of time. And then like Aries guys, it's so funny. It's the one sign out of all of them, the one sign I've never been with. Because like Aries guys always like me and I never like them. I don't know what it is, but I'm just not attracted to Aries, with the exception of Steven Tyler. I think he's sexy. But he's a March Aries, March 26th. We always say like March Aries are different than April Aries.
Yeah. I had an ex that was an Aries, and she got jealous of my daughter, and I had to dump her.
Aries are very jealous.
And put a return order against her.
We're like territorial. So
she got jealous of my daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see.
And they're
that.
like competitive. Well, they're competitive, so she probably felt like she was competing with your daughter.
Well, think about it. We're babies too. Like we need attention.
Right.
So if you're giving your attention to anyone else, we're gonna be like, "What about me? Me."
That's
and we're gonna cry.
Yep.
Right?
That's what
Throw
she
a tantrum.
said.
Yeah.
Because my daughter was getting like a modeling deal, LA modeling. She was like, "What about me? I'm trying to." My daughter was like little.
Yeah.
One modeling deal.
Yeah, that's what happened. I swear, and it's so funny you guys are saying this.
Yeah,
because Aries is actually on my list as compatible though.
A lot of my Aries girlfriends, not you, but I've had most of them get competitive with me when it comes to guys. I had a friend literally say to me, "You're going to meet my boyfriend tonight. You can't look prettier than me." And I was like, he's your boyfriend. And you know what's funny is that guy ended up trying to hook up with me years later. And I was like,
This is giving Aries
self-fulfilling
a bad
prophecy.
name.
No, they're competitive. Yeah. You're not. But I've had a
but
lot.
Aries
I've had
is
a lot
actually
of
on the Aquarius list though.
What's that?
Because me and this chick would have been okay if she
you're air
hadn't.
and I'm fire. So we're compatible, like our elements.
Yes,
but,
it's the one on my list.
I mean,
Sag,
you
Aries,
have
and
like
Libra.
your challenges too as an Aquarius.
Of course.
So that's just one of our challenges that was magnified, especially in that relationship. So yeah, it just depends on.
Yeah.
But in terms of zodiac compatibility, we're compatible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So like right now we're like air, fire, air.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know
on
too
my
much
list
about
is
Aries men though.
Okay, so Aries men, I've dated one Aries guy, and this is in college. They're like cavemen. They're very simple. And
Like, me want woman.
Yeah, like come to the cave, like, and they're just like they're so simple. They're just like
Serious.
like let's have sex, like no foreplay, no nothing, or like hey, I want to wine and dine you, or like kind of like
they're persistent. I have an Aries friend who's very persistent
because everything's a competition.
Yeah,
it's a challenge.
See, competitive.
Like, it's like you like feed my ego. Like I'm gonna win you, and then I'll probably get bored.
Interesting.
But the men, I think the women are a little bit more strategic than the men because the men are just they're like the epitome of like an athlete too. Like gotta go out and and just win our game, and then I'm gonna go home and like wait for the next game. Like,
oh my God!
They have a lot of, but they will always stick up for you because like my boyfriend at the time, he always had my back, which was so cool. Like they're like masculinity to like the 10th degree. Like they'll stick up for you.
Yeah,
that's
which is
so
nice.
Funny.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything else to say about Aries?
No, I
think that wraps it up.
I think that wraps up about Aries. Who's next?
I know. I don't want to have a.
Who's next?
Taurus.
Oh my God.
The bull.
My
I
ex.
say their sign too. Like Aries is a ram, Taurus is
bull.
Oh yeah.
My
so
ex.
again, similar.
They
both have the horns.
Never again.
But I have a lot to say about Taurus women. I don't have a lot to say about Taurus men because I've only been with one and I was like 18. But Kels can speak more to that. But Taurus women, it's the one sign that I don't really get along with, and because I get along with everybody. Libra's like we're people pleasers. We love everybody, but they're just so alpha female that it's tough. Like they. Oh God, it's like they want you to be a passenger. Basically, they have to be the driver. They have to make the plans. They're basically like, hey, I'm going to do this thing. I'd love for you to come with me, but just so you know, we're not going to do anything you want to do. Like I'm going to drive.
We're going to go. It's my show. And it's my way or the highway.
Yeah. And because they do want someone along with them, but they need a passenger. Because I think you said you dated a Taurus.
Yeah, my ex. It was horrible.
Why?
A disaster. The worst relationship I've ever had in my life. Yeah,
worse than the Capricorn?
Literally the worst in the Capricorn.
Ooh.
The worst relationship I've had in my entire life.
Because you're not a passenger.
Stubborn, bullheaded, controlling, jealous. I mean, you name it.
Well,
literally want to control every aspect of my life. Like literally.
You don't do that to an Aquarius.
No,
they will run.
Yes.
Faster than you can like.
Yes.
Yeah, that is what not to do to an Aquarius.
Exactly.
Never try to pin them down.
Yep.
Or in.
Yep.
Yeah,
they
do their own thing. But the interesting thing is, like, every Taurus woman I know has a tough, and they have very masculine energy too. The women have very masculine energy. A lot of times they're tomboys. They play sports. But the thing is, they have a tough time, I feel like, finding relationships because I feel like they are good with a passenger, but they also would be bored of a passenger too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they like that tension and kind of like that back and forth, kind of like
banter.
Are they actually what they're doing is they're testing you. They want you to stick up for yourself because that to them is like
because here's their bullies. Yeah, they're bullies. So like you have to stand up to the bully.
I'm gonna push you, but if you stick up for yourself and you push back, then we're cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I could see that. Yeah, man.
Right?
Yes.
They're their boundaries.
They're very alpha female.
They're the child now.
Yeah.
So what do we do as children? We test boundaries.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was
not fun, actually.
Anything I did, it was a problem,
it's one of the least fun signs.
And I'm telling you, I get along with everybody, but when I meet a woman, I'm like, she Taurus? I knew it. Because they're so alpha female. Yeah. Like, I'm
definitely
alpha, but I can
female.
still be a passenger. Yeah. But I went to a festival with a friend of mine who was a Taurus, like, back in the day. And it was like we had to do every single thing that she wanted to do the whole time. And there was like one thing I wanted to do. And she was like, why are we doing this? You know, it's like, because out of 7 days, I wanted to do one thing. Yep. You know, they have a tough time. They're like, they have to be the man in the relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the worst. I'd never do it again.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it was horrible.
Yeah. But
Taurus
men, I don't know a lot about. I think you can probably speak more to that.
I've never dated a Taurus man, but just in general, they're supposed to be practical, financially, like they really go for security, so they might not marry the most beautiful woman or like the woman that they're attracted to, but they'll marry somebody who comes from a really wealthy family. You know what I mean?
Like Capricorn's earth signs.
Yeah, like an earth sign, because they're very practical. And if they have that stability, then that wins out over love.
Interesting.
So finances before love.
Interesting. Yeah.
I find a lot of Tauruses that I know date Pisces.
Okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
That makes
because
sense.
the Pisces is the one who's going to give.
Yep.
They're going to be
That's
the
right.
more, I think they're immutable signs. So they're very they can flex.
That makes a
Very
lot
flexible.
of sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's also like your cardinal, mutable, or fixed too.
Oh yeah.
all of
She
this.
talked about all of that too. I didn't know that, but apparently I'm a cardinal sign, which is that I'm the strongest out of the air signs?
Yeah, you're leading the air signs.
Oh, okay. I'm leading you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader.
You're outnumbered. You're outsigned.
I've never heard that. The cardinal, the what, and the what?
So there's a cardinal sign, which is like the leader. They're the initiators of the zodiac. And then there's the mutable, which is like very like flexible, kind of like they can go either way. But you need all of these in order for people to get along, right? You can't have everybody be the same.
So what's Aquarius? What's the...
I think you would be the
is he
last.
fixed? You might be fixed.
Wait, yes, because
Which is-
the air sign after me would he's in the middle. Because the one after him would be Gemini. So the Gemini's the fixed one.
Oh, so you're mutable.
Okay.
Actually, that makes sense because Aquariuses are very like open-minded,
Yeah.
and you're actually from the future. Like you
From the
can-
future.
Well,
Yeah.
they can see things well beyond what we can. They're just like, I want to have like this is going to be an invention, or I have this idea.
Yeah, they're the dreamers.
Yeah,
You're the dreamers.
That's why I have the visionary tattoo on my neck.
Yeah, visionary.
Oh.
You're
Yeah,
visionary.
you're absolutely right.
It's like the
Yeah.
perfect word.
Yep. Have it tatted on my neck.
There you
All right.
It's true.
Well, let's move on to
Let's move on
Gemini.
to Gemini.
Because Gemini is a fun sign to talk about.
That's one of my matches too, Gemini.
Mine too, yeah, because we're air signs.
Yeah.
But the
twins.
women,
My ex-wife,
it's-
my daughter's mom is a Gemini.
Oh, really?
So Gemini is twins.
Yeah, they have the two personalities, but they are feisty. They like to fight. They are
Definitely.
not afraid to share their opinion. But you know what's funny is because Libra, we hate confrontation. And I have so many Gemini girlfriends. I get along with them really well. Like I can handle their confrontation for some reason. I don't know why that is. Because normally, like confrontation, people freak me out.
I
Yeah.
think of Gemini as more like the communicators of the zodiac. So
Yeah,
even
yeah.
if they do prefer confrontation, maybe that they prefer a communication more than like a confrontation.
That's what a friend of mine always says.
don't know how to
She's
say it,
always
but-
she's always like, we're the communicators. We're like communication is really important to us.
They don't even filter like what comes in, what comes out. Like they just take. So if you ever want a secret to be told to the world, tell a Gemini. If Rachel told me something right now, then I would just go, "Oh, you know what she said, Amonte?" Like I would just say it to you.
Oh,
Like
okay.
they don't even care if it's true or not. They do no
wow.
fact checking. Like they just say. Like my aunt's a Gemini, and I call her the command center because she goes, "Did you see this? This is what's happening." I go, "Well, where'd you get your source?" Like, it doesn't matter. This is what happens.
The
and this is what I'm saying.
gossips.
Yeah, they're the town gossip.
That's funny.
You know what's so
I
funny?
didn't
When my
know
sister got
that.
engaged today, the first person I texted was my uncle. He's a Gemini.
Yeah,
Because we're always talking about like the
It's
family
just-
dirt.
it's
Yeah.
just information in, information out.
Yeah.
That's so
No
funny.
filter.
Every Gemini girl that I know, they're feisty. Like they like to fight. They like to
didn't know
banter.
that.
Because I had friends that say that
Yeah.
they're like, I want a guy I can banter with, and they date each other a lot
And Geminis can be very cold and cutting too.
Yeah.
So like if
when
we
they
go-
fight.
when they fight, they can be really mean.
They're Sour Patch Kids, but then they come back and they're like, sorry,
Yeah.
love you.
Yeah.
You know, like sweet. They got the sweet side
the
too.
other twin.
Mm-hmm. The
Yeah.
other side.
The other
yeah.
twin.
You have to watch out for that.
The other
Because
twin.
they can switch on a dime too.
Right.
It'll
But
be sweet twin and then it'll be sour twin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
My ex
Gemini
did that.
guys, you know what's funny is I'm supposed to be compatible with them, but I find them, with the exception of my uncle, I think he's like a great, great guy. But like any guy Gemini that I have dated or tried to date, I find them to be a bit much. Like they're like they
too much.
yeah, like they won't
They're
stop.
on all the time.
If-
They're kind of like spread all.
No, like if I'm like I'm not interested, that doesn't stop them. They're just like, how about now?
They
How
still
about
wanna keep
now?
going.
Sorry, I just
Yeah.
flipped out on you. How about now? Yeah, and they like they want to fight, and I'm like, no, I don't want to fight. And they're like, sorry, can we start over? Can we start over? Can we start over? Like,
like
they'll
drama.
just yes, drama, and they're like persistent. They're a lot. I find.
Well, if you never want to be bored, go out with a Gemini because they will keep you busy.
Yeah.
They'll keep you busy the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
funny.
know. They're a little too much for me.
Yeah, they're supposed to be the communicators of the zodiac. But
Yeah, I agree with that.
Gemini.